My husband, Leo, drove drunk, hit someone, and then deceitfully asked me to accept the blame and serve jail time for him. Upon my release from prison, I discovered Leo had already remarried. His new wife was my closest friend, Clara. My 5-year-old daughter, Lily, was found chained to the balcony, treated like an animal. Fearing my retaliation, they struck me with a car, ending my life. Yet when I opened my eyes again, I had been reborn. Leo was kneeling before me, desperately pleading for me to take responsibility for his crime. I forcefully kicked him down, declaring, "Go to prison yourself, you criminal." "Leo, how could you be so heartless?" I thought, wanting to tear him limb from limb. Instead, I chose to pacify him first. Observing his panicked state, I feigned agreement to his request to change clothes. Secretly, however, I locked the bathroom door and contacted the authorities. When the police arrived, Leo was startled. He pounded on the bathroom door, begging me to emerge. The officers discovered him hiding naked in the closet and apprehended him, ignoring my feigned protests. As they escorted Leo away, my 2-year-old daughter appeared, asking why I was weeping. While I managed the aftermath of my husband's arrest, my in-laws arrived, blaming me for his predicament. They berated me for not notifying them sooner. I quickly asserted control, mentioning Clara, whose relative worked at the police station. Plans were initiated to attempt resolving the matter. Upon Clara's arrival, she showed reluctance to assist financially, but eventually proposed lending me $200,000. Clara harbored her own secrets. She was present in the car with Leo during the accident. If this became public, her career could be jeopardized. Despite the potential risks, Clara consented to help, though limited to $200,000. I expressed gratitude towards her. "Clara, Leo will surely remember your generosity. If Leo manages to evade serious consequences, I'll gladly facilitate their union." A deceitful woman paired with a scoundrel, a perfect match, destined for eternity together. It would be a shame to keep such a compatible pair apart. Having dealt with the treacherous friend, I shifted my focus to my in-laws. My mother-in-law addressed me directly. "Leo is in significant trouble. Your father's side must contribute. He possesses a retirement pension. Now is the time to utilize it. The old villain was even targeting my father." "Mom, I've already reached out to my father's family. His pension funds are invested. Withdrawal will take a week. He assured me the money will be transferred immediately upon availability." In reality, a week would be far too late for Leo. My anxious in-laws then requested the $200,000 borrowed from Clara, intending to handle matters themselves. Were they suspicious of me? I promptly handed over the funds and readily provided the hospital details for the victim. "Mom, Dad, you must act swiftly. Whether it requires kneeling, begging forgiveness, enduring insults, or physical assault from the victim's party, insist they accept this money and secure a letter of forgiveness, understand?" Hearing this, a flicker of fear crossed my mother-in-law's face. I added, "You must also console the victim's family and ensure proper follow-up. Even if it means begging or making sacrifices, their forgiveness is paramount." A hint of unease showed on Clara's face before she interjected persuasively. "Maya, Auntie and Uncle are elderly. Such matters are unsuitable for them. You should go instead." "But—" I feigned hesitation, glancing towards my mother-in-law. Instantly, the old woman handed the card to me. "You go." I secretly celebrated but maintained a reluctant facade. My long history of passive acceptance meant my mother-in-law would never suspect me capable of such actions. My mother-in-law scolded me again. "Why are you delaying? Don't you wish to save Leo?" I immediately departed. Afterward, I went inside to collect my daughter, preparing to leave. Seeing me with Lily, my mother-in-law looked doubtful. "Why are you bringing the child? Are you taking her to the victim's family?" I pretended helplessness. "Mom, Lily is so young. They might show compassion seeing our child, perhaps even settle for a lesser amount." My explanation seemed plausible. My mother-in-law nodded. "At least you possess some sense. Hurry now." I quickly left with my daughter, not daring to linger. My daughter was my vulnerability. Only after ensuring her and my father's safety could I properly confront these vile individuals. Once away from the house, I immediately transferred the funds from the bank card. Gazing at the balance on my phone, I couldn't suppress loud laughter. Consider this 800,000 compensation for my lost youth. Expecting Leo's release? Impossible. The true drama was just beginning, and I intended to play my part meticulously. I vanished for the entire morning. My in-laws incessantly called my phone. Clara also attempted contacting me through various means. In the evening, I initiated contact with Clara myself, providing an address and instructing her to come alone without informing my in-laws. Hearing a knock, I rose and opened the door slightly, confirming Clara stood outside alone before admitting her. Upon entering, Clara immediately began complaining. "Maya, what game are you playing? Ignoring calls, messages, planning to disappear entirely?" I stood, arms crossed, observing her. Perhaps sensing her harsh tone, Clara abruptly shifted her approach. "Maya, my worry for you caused my outburst. That's why I seemed agitated." "Leo is having an affair." My unexpected declaration startled Clara. She stared incredulously. "How do you know?" I chanced upon transaction records on his phone, along with hotel reservations for a couple's Valentine's Day stay. "I'm certain he's cheating, though I haven't identified the third party yet." Hearing this, Clara visibly relaxed. She inquired, "So what's your plan?" I responded coldly, "If Leo proves heartless, I'll be ruthless. Let him languish in jail. As for the other woman, I will undoubtedly uncover her identity." Clara turned pale with fear, staring blankly. I patted her shoulder, causing her to jump. "Clara, what's occupying your thoughts? Your expression is peculiar." Guilt-ridden, Clara avoided my gaze. "Nothing. Just surprised Leo would actually cheat." "Ha! Why no surprise during their actual affair?" "Clara, do me a favor. I intend to divorce Leo." Clara looked up sharply. "Divorce? But Leo is incarcerated. How is divorce possible?" "As long as I obtain proof of Leo's infidelity, I can file—" The mention of evidence nearly frightened Clara out of her wits. She asked what proof I sought. I explained Leo had once brought the woman to their new home overnight. Surveillance footage there should capture these events. Only Leo and his parents possess keys. To acquire this evidence, I proposed forcing entry with a locksmith, requesting she distract Leo's parents while I visited their house. Clara readily consented, then inquired about repayment of her 200,000 loan. The funds she secretly accumulated from Leo over years exceeded that amount. How dare she demand more? However, confrontation was currently unwise. I replied, "I'll repay you after finalizing the property division with Leo." Very reluctantly and burdened by guilt, Clara didn't press further. Late that night, Clara called, asking why I hadn't retrieved the evidence from the new house. "Am I attempting self-sabotage?" I countered, "How do you know I didn't go?" Silence ensued from her end until I offered an excuse. "Clara, you must care deeply and secretly followed me, witnessing me turn back, correct?" Clara quickly affirmed, then asked my reason for returning. I claimed seeing lights on, suspecting occupancy. "Clara, was it coincidence or a leak?" Clara evaded the question, changing the topic to my whereabouts, which I withheld. Fabricating an excuse, I ended the call. After sleeping for an unknown duration, a knock sounded at the door. Opening it revealed my in-laws, faces grim. My mother-in-law's eyes bore into me. "You wretch! How dare you abscond with the money?" As she spoke, she produced a stick from behind her back, swinging it towards me. I swiftly dodged. She stumbled and fell. Scrambling up, she lunged again. "Maya, you deceitful creature! You failed to save my son and fled with the funds." I calmly walked over, sat on the sofa, and listened quietly to her tirade. My best friend must have directed them here, surely. My father-in-law, unlike his wife, remained much calmer. He restrained my mother-in-law, speaking in an odd tone. "Didn't you notice she's deaf? Waste your breath elsewhere. She defrauded us. Let's report her directly to the police. Once Leo is released, she won't escape consequences." The mother-in-law vehemently agreed. "Yes, report her. Imprison her. Let's see how that old man and his wretched daughter survive without this wicked mother." This old woman disliking me was one thing, but harboring such malice towards her own granddaughter? No wonder, post-imprisonment, she permitted Clara, that vile woman, to abuse my daughter. With no outlet for my fury, I raised my hand and struck my mother-in-law across the face. The impact sent her sprawling. She stared, shocked. "How dare you strike me?" I rushed forward, kicking her. "I'll not only strike you, but kick you too. You old hag, utter one more ill word about my daughter. If not for the legal repercussions of murder, I would undoubtedly slaughter these two elders today." My father-in-law, enraged, stomped his feet, retrieved his phone, declaring he'd call the police. I shouted defiantly, "Go ahead, call them. Let them properly investigate the origin of that money." Hearing this, my father-in-law paused, looking at me with surprise. I offered a cold smile. "What? Afraid? Hesitant to call? Claim I cheated you? Then let the police trace the money's true source, along with all funds remaining in your accounts. Investigate thoroughly." My father-in-law panicked, his hand holding the phone trembling uncontrollably. "What exactly do you know?" I stated coolly. At minimum, having shared a bed with Leo, I possess some knowledge of his illicit activities. Regarding specifics of Leo's corporate actions, I genuinely lack information. In my previous life, upon release, Leo and Clara were already prosperous. Within years, they resided in a villa, drove luxury vehicles, possessing assets worth tens of millions. Seeking revenge, I investigated relentlessly, eventually uncovering his secret asset transfers. Before I could expose everything, Leo and Clara conspired to kill me. Last night, I intentionally arranged for Clara to lure the in-laws to their new residence while I searched their home for evidence. Leo confided nothing to me but held no reservations with his father. Information and proof of his misdeeds were concealed within the in-laws' house. Father and son, truly despicable. While my current evidence is incomplete, it suffices to intimidate this old man. My words were vague, yet my father-in-law believed I possessed concrete proof. His face turned ashen. He signaled his wife. Her demeanor towards me instantly softened. "Maya, you've resided in my home so long, I've always regarded you as a daughter. How could you act this way during Leo's troubles? Consider your marital bond. After all, he is Lily's father, correct?" I sneered contemptuously. "Marital bond? When he engaged in affairs, seeking mistresses, did he consider my feelings?" I deliberately framed the conflict around relational jealousy. My mother-in-law's expression eased slightly as she attempted conciliation. "Spare Leo this time, for our daughter's sake," she urged. She dares mention her daughter now, the same one she cursed moments ago? Shameless old woman. "You should leave while things are calm. Allow me solitude." Fearful of police involvement, the in-laws refrained from mentioning the money again, offering an excuse before departing hastily. Observing their hurried exit, I suspected they intended to destroy evidence. Let the race begin. "Maya, there's news! Come quickly!" Receiving a call from my good friend Sarah, I rushed to the hospital. Only in this second life did I discern true friends from false ones. Sarah, Clara, and I grew up together in the same neighborhood courtyard, yet my bond with Sarah wasn't as close as with Clara. Clara claimed Sarah was arrogant, advising distance. Later, I realized Clara envied Sarah's superior family background. The sole person offering aid upon my previous release was Sarah. Penniless, I would have perished on the streets without her assistance. "Maya, this..." I turned, seeing Sarah. She extended her phone, urging me to watch the recorded video, her voice filled with anger. "I never imagined Clara capable of such deceit after knowing you over a decade." The video showed my mother-in-law accompanying Clara, hand in hand, towards the hospital's gynecology department. In my past life, upon release, Clara and Leo's child was already 3, meaning she conceived shortly after my imprisonment. While I adjusted to prison, Leo impatiently sought divorce. He claimed he didn't want our daughter's mother labeled an inmate upon starting school. Thinking of our vulnerable daughter, I agreed to the divorce. But the truth was that Clara got pregnant, and it was a boy. Only then did Leo urgently seek a divorce from me to marry her. Knowing Clara's temperament, if she found out she was pregnant, she would definitely go to Leo. Now that Leo has been arrested, her next target will be my mother-in-law. After settling my daughter that day, I immediately went to find Sarah. She lived across from Clara and me, so I asked her to keep an eye on Clara. "Sarah, thank you so much this time." Sarah patted my shoulder comfortingly. Don't be polite with me. I can't stand people who stab others in the back. What do you plan to do next? If you want the divorce to succeed, you must obtain evidence of his affair. The child in Clara's womb would be the most compelling evidence. With this child and the footage from the car's surveillance camera, I have enough evidence. I am planning to get a divorce. Sarah nodded in agreement. Why keep a scumbag like him around? Don't go easy on Clara. She's too wicked, treating you like a fool. I won't let this bitch off the hook. Thinking of all the things she did to my daughter, I wanted nothing more than to skin her alive. My father had an accident. When I received the call, I collapsed to the ground. If it weren't for the kind passersby helping me, I wouldn't even know how to get to the hospital. Sarah, is my father okay? At the hospital, I held Sarah's hand tightly, staring helplessly at the operating room. Sarah couldn't answer my question, just kept comforting me while apologizing. Maya, I'm sorry, I never thought I'd be followed. It's not Sarah's fault. Leo knew the address of my hometown. He was aware that my father and daughter were my weakness, and my hometown was not safe. So, I asked Sarah to help me find a place to temporarily settle them. I looked around and didn't see my daughter. My heart couldn't help but rise to my throat. Where is Lily? Lily was taken away by her grandmother. I was in a hurry to take your uncle to the hospital and didn't have time for Lily. My mind was in chaos, wanting to go and snatch back my daughter, but I couldn't bear to leave my father in the operating room. It must be Clara. Only she could pay attention to Sarah, thus finding out the whereabouts of my father. My inner anger reached its peak in an instant. If I don't tear this woman apart, I don't deserve to be a daughter or a mother. The surgery ended in time. My father was delivered promptly. There was no immediate danger to his life. Learning this news, I secretly breathed a sigh of relief. After entrusting Sarah to take care of my father, I went straight to my in-laws' house. I absolutely couldn't let my daughter fall into the hands of these scumbags. When my in-laws opened the door and saw me, their faces immediately darkened. What are you doing here? I pushed past her, trying to enter the house, but was firmly blocked outside the door. You wicked woman! Our house can't accommodate you. Get out! Give me back my daughter. Otherwise, don't blame me for blowing everything up. Facing my threat, my mother-in-law was indifferent. Lily is my granddaughter. She'll learn bad things from you, a wicked woman. Time was limited. I didn't want to waste too much time arguing with this old woman. Old witch, I'll ask you one last time. Do you want to give my daughter back to me? Before my mother-in-law could respond, I heard Clara's voice behind her. Maya, what's going on? How can you talk to Auntie like that? I turned around and slapped Clara across the face without any hesitation. I showed no mercy. She covered her face, looking at me with surprise. Maya, are you crazy? You even hit me. I'm hitting you, you wicked woman. What have you done? Have you no guilt in your heart? She couldn't meet my eyes with guilt and stubbornly tried to defend herself. What are you saying? I have no idea. Let's go down together. Even if I die, I will drag these scumbags to hell with me. Clara looked at me suspiciously, then opened her phone in a panic. She stared at the screen in shock, trembling. How is this possible? You've gone mad. I had sent the video from the car's recorder to Clara's work group. In the video, the two of them were so reckless in the car. Clara's moans were also heard. You love me so passionately, aren't you afraid of not being able to explain to your wife when you get back? Leo said. Forget that yellow-faced woman, it's a damper. How can her saggy and loose flesh compare to your enchanting allure? Oh, so my years of hard work were just seen as a yellow-faced woman in Leo's eyes. The reason I didn't explode at the first moment but pretended to cooperate with them was to gather all the evidence that would be beneficial to me. Yes, I have gone crazy. You've driven me to madness. My father and Lily are my bottom line. If you dare to touch them, then let's die together. As I approached, Clara nervously backed away, looking at me with fear. When did you find out? I grabbed her by the collar and questioned her. We've known each other for more than 10 years. I treated you as my best friend. Why would you treat me like this? Clara, are you even human? Clara suddenly laughed. She even looked somewhat smug as she stared at me. You kept flaunting in front of me, boasting about how much your husband loves you and takes care of the family. Well, I just wiggled my finger and he took the bait. Did I flaunt? I thought of her as a good friend, hoping she could find happiness, encouraging her to get married early. But in her eyes, it somehow became my boasting. Just because of this, you can shamelessly seduce someone else's husband? You're truly despicable. Clara stomped her foot in frustration. I advise you to quickly take down the video and then claim that you intentionally framed me. Otherwise, you will regret it. I chuckled. How thick-skinned must Clara be to say such words? Then tell me, how exactly are you going to make me regret it? I retorted. Clara glared at me maliciously. I can make it so you never see your daughter again. I panicked, my previously calm demeanor thrown off balance. Urgently, I looked at Clara, my voice trembling with fear. Is my daughter in your hands? What have you done to her? Threatening me with my daughter, don't you think it's despicable? Clara nodded smugly. Yes, your daughter is in my hands. If you don't listen and do as I say, don't blame me for taking action against your daughter. I turned to look at my in-laws standing behind me. Regardless, Lily is still Leo's granddaughter. How can you treat her like this? My mother-in-law sneered. That brat is just compensation. Clara is carrying our family's grandchild. Do as Clara demands quickly, or don't blame us for being rough with that little wench. Cutting off limbs is nothing to us. If you provoke us, we'll kill her directly. That heartless old thing. Clara's heart is truly ruthless. Impatiently, Clara urged me on, looking like an ant on a hot pan. With every second of delay, it meant one more person witnessing her ugly side. Maya, I advise you to hurry up. Otherwise, be prepared for your daughter's funeral. I stared at her and burst out laughing. Confused, she scrutinized me and demanded, What are you laughing at? I gestured for her to turn around. Behind her, several police officers were already approaching us. Clara had not yet grasped what was happening. Just looking puzzledly at me, she questioned, You called the police? I raised my phone. The screen indicated an ongoing call. Clara, I called the police station when you arrived. The entire conversation was monitored by the police. You and these two old folks are now caught red-handed with the kidnapping of my daughter. I suggest you be honest. Do you really think I'm a fool? Knowing well that they took away my daughter just to threaten me, why did I walk right into their trap willingly? On my way from the hospital, I had already called the police. Clara dared to have someone follow Sarah, snatch my daughter to threaten me. Naturally, she had to pay the corresponding legal price for her actions. If I reported to the police that my mother-in-law took away her granddaughter, the police would only consider it a family dispute, and there would be no way to bring Clara to justice. Only by making Clara confess in person that she kidnapped my daughter could we get her behind bars. Having lived two lives, no one understands Clara better than me. Her pride, her arrogance, her disdain for me destined her to a bad ending. The police showed the silver handcuffs, ready to take Clara away. Clara was terrified, stumbling to defend herself. Officer, she coerced me. I didn't do it. I really didn't. The police looked at her seriously. Clara, we have found the child, Lily, whom you forcibly took from your home. Clara was dumbfounded. She had never expected the police would act so swiftly. The reason I danced around Clara was also to buy time, to let the police find my daughter in the shortest possible time and rescue her. My daughter was their most powerful leverage to threaten me, knowing I would rush to my in-laws' house. Naturally, they wouldn't leave my daughter there. The most likely place was Clara's house. When the police informed me through the earpiece that they had found my daughter, I breathed a sigh of relief, no longer pretending with Clara, and laid everything on the table with her. Clara's face turned pale in an instant. She stared at me blankly, then began to shout frantically, No, I don't want to go to jail. No one expected Clara to attack the police, let alone take me as a hostage to threaten them. Clara grabbed a fruit knife from the dining table and pressed it against my neck. We were too close, and the incident was too abrupt for anyone to react. Clara was not emotionally stable. She shouted angrily at the police, Get out! Stay away from me or I'll kill her. The police tried to calm Clara down as much as possible without provoking her. I don't want to go to jail. All of you get out. Clara waved the sharp knife, signaling the police to back off. The sharp blade cut my neck and blood instantly oozed out. For my safety, the police dared not move any further. Everyone was trying to persuade Clara, but her emotions had already collapsed. All she wanted was to escape, with me as her hostage. In a critical moment, I suddenly asked Clara, "The person you are most jealous of isn't Sarah, but me, right?" Clara froze, staring blankly at me, unwilling to let me see her deepest insecurity. "What nonsense are you talking about? Why would I be jealous of you? Your beloved husband, the man you love, is mine. You're just a fool I've played around with. What do I have to be jealous of you for?" I calmly laughed and said, "You're jealous of my loving parents and my harmonious family. Unlike you, who grew up in a miserable family. Your father cheats on your mother, and every time he messes around with other women outside, your mother takes it out on you, using you as a punching bag. Clara, you're nothing but a complete pity. You've lost completely." Clara went crazy, shouting at me in a fit of rage. "Shut up, you slut! I said shut up!" Amidst the chaos, I suddenly looked up and shouted, "Clara's mom, why are you here?" Clara froze for a moment and subconsciously looked up. Taking advantage of this gap, the police officer who was cooperating with me immediately rushed forward and pulled me out. Only then did Olivia react, still struggling desperately. "Ah!" A painful scream rang out. As Clara struggled with the police, the knife in her hand accidentally stabbed into her own belly. The mother-in-law, who was being held on the side, saw this scene, turned pale with fright, and exclaimed, "Call an ambulance quickly. My grandson must not be harmed." I visited Leo in prison, accompanied by my lawyer. Leo stared at me viciously through the glass window. "You slut! How dare you come to see me?" I had my lawyer submit a divorce agreement to Leo. "Sign it." Seeing the agreement I handed over, Leo burst into laughter. "You want a divorce and to take most of my property? Dream on, bitch! You want a divorce, but I won't allow it." I scrutinized Leo. How did I ever turn a blind eye and not see this scum in front of me? I looked at Leo coldly, my words devoid of any emotion. "I'm giving you the divorce agreement as a formality. If you don't agree, I can sue for divorce at any time. Your affair is a fact. Divorce is inevitable." Leo was furious. He pounded on the table, threatening to kill me. After being stopped by the guards, he changed his tactics to threats. "I'll be out in a few months, and then we'll see if I kill you or not." I laughed, mocking his naivety. "Do you think no one knows what you've been up to? You'll be out in 10 years if you're lucky." Leo looked at me in disbelief, his eyes filled with astonishment. "You bastard, what have you done?" I replied, "The USB drive you hid in your father's study? I've already handed it over to Mr. Chen at your company." Leo, who had just stood up, instantly slumped back into his chair. No one knew better than him what this meant. He had embezzled company assets and siphoned off project funds. After I submitted the evidence of his crimes, the company had already decided to take action against him. With tens of millions in dirty money, such a large sum was enough to keep Leo inside for 10 years. He wanted to get back at me and find me after a decade? Leo was scared. He began to cry, admitting his mistakes to me, kneeling before me and begging for mercy. "Wife, I was wrong. I just made the mistakes that any man would make. Why must you be so ruthless towards me? Wife, I beg you to help me. I promise to turn over a new leaf when I get out." Moments ago, he was threatening to kill me, and now he was desperately begging me, addressing me as his wife. His change of heart was swift indeed. Unfortunately, I had long seen through the true nature of this scumbag. His tearful plea was sickening. I didn't want to spend another minute in this dump, leaving the scumbag to enjoy it on his own. "The agreement is left for you to sign. Let me know when it's done." The scumbag kept pleading with me, repeatedly calling my name. I stopped in my tracks and turned to look back. He thought I had changed my mind, looking at me with joy. "Wife, have you come to your senses? Have you decided to help me?" I gave a cold smile. "I just forgot to tell you one piece of news." The scumbag paused, asking, "What is it?" I spoke slowly. "Clara is pregnant, and it's a boy. It's a pity she stabbed herself to death." Leo went completely crazy, charging at me like a frenzied beast. He forgot we are now people of two different worlds. No matter how crazy he became, he couldn't pose any threat to me. The glass door of the prison separated him from me. His remaining years were destined to be spent in prison to repent for the mistakes he made. Stepping out of jail, I saw my father and my daughter. After treatment, my father's illness had been effectively controlled, and his health was gradually improving. When my daughter saw me, she waved her hands excitedly. "Mommy wants a hug!" I bent down, lifted my daughter, and held her tightly in my arms. The pleasant surprise of regaining what was lost brought tears to my eyes. I had promised to protect my daughter and ensure her well-being for a lifetime, and I had kept that promise. Seeing my teary eyes, my father felt heartbroken. "Daughter, everything is past now. It's good that they're gone. Don't be sad." I shook my head. "Dad, I'm not sad. I'm happy. Isn't it wonderful for the 3 generations of us to live happily together in the future?" In this second chance at life, the 2 most important people in my life were safely by my side. What else could make me happier than this? Now, even my tears are tears of joy. I vowed to be their strongest support and prevent them from being hurt in the slightest. Leo was sentenced to 10 years. Clara's crimes were even more severe than his, leading to a direct sentence of 12 years. When the judgment was made, Leo's parents fainted in the courtroom. His father suffered a sudden heart attack and passed away a week after returning home from the hospital. His mother, though not dead, couldn't withstand the relentless blows and went completely crazy. Following the court's ruling, I successfully divorced Leo. I was granted custody of my daughter, Lily. Leo's assets were frozen and seized by the court due to financial fraud. However, this did not cause any substantial harm to me. I moved out of Leo's house and back to my parents' home. Sarah returned the $800,000 that she had kept for me back to me. Initially, this money was partly provided by Clara and partly transferred from my in-laws' account with no connection to Leo. With this money as a safety net, my life became much easier. My dad's health was improving day by day, and in his spare time, he helped take care of my daughter. He would pick her up and drop her off at school every day, allowing me to work outside and realize my own value. Although my salary was not high, it was enough to cover the family's expenses. Most importantly, the company was close to home, allowing me more quality time to spend with my family. Despite going through dark times, when the clouds clear, my sky will be clear and bright. The future is full of sunshine and hope,